Facebook is to connect family and friends, not to connect musicians to their fans. That was a statement released by Facebook in the beginning of all these policy changes that we are going to dig into today. I'm Colt Capperrune. Thank you guys for stopping by for another video. Unfortunately, these aren't the kind of videos I actually enjoy making. But as long as you're here, don't forget to subscribe, click the bell next to the subscribe tab, give me a thumbs up, and drop me a comment and let me know your thoughts about this whole new music guidelines that Facebook is putting into effect October 1st. Now, before we get too far into this, as a disclaimer, I'm not a lawyer, and I don't work for Facebook, and I don't work for Instagram, and I'm not a copyright lawyer, and so I want you to take all of this as my opinion as I've read through all of this stuff and tried to figure out what I think it actually means, and more importantly, how it's actually going to impact you as an artist or a producer or whatever if you're streaming or doing Insta stories or posting videos of you working on music, of you singing and playing music, of you at concerts, of your song that you've actually released. We're going to dig into what this kind of means for all of these things moving forward starting October 1st for you on Facebook and the other products, meaning everything that Facebook owns like Instagram and WhatsApp, etc. So this is all just my understanding as it stands right now. I'm filming this on September 13th, 2020. Obviously, all this kind of stuff is subject to change. Keep in mind that, I'll try to clarify in future videos if something radically changes, but this is how I understand it as of today on September 13th, 2020. Now, in Facebook's new guidelines, it says you may not use videos on our products, meaning Facebook and Instagram, to create a listening experience. Now, I think listening experience is kind of the interesting terminology here. But in my opinion, this is a blanket statement that Facebook is using to basically give them the power to do whatever they would like in the future. Very similar to here on YouTube, how we have the community guidelines. No one actually knows what's in these community guidelines. And so what this means is YouTube has the power to actually pull down or demonetize anyone they want for any reason they want, and they don't even have to give you the reason why you got a strike against your community guidelines or why you were completely deplatformed. They don't even have to tell you. All they have to say is that something you did went against their community guidelines. And it's been this way on YouTube for a while now. YouTube has kind of overstepped their bounds in some instances, in my opinion, but it's not been super widespread. Now, on Facebook, I think that this is going to be a very similar situation, and these new guidelines are going to be this blanket statement, this blanket policy in which they can take down your content for anything that they think is necessary. And they're probably not even going to have to give you a reason why they've done it. So how is this actually going to impact you? Because that's the important thing here. I want to talk about how this is going to directly impact you and how you use your social medias. So in my opinion, the basis of this new policy is directed at previously recorded music, like studio recording. So you as an artist, you come to me, I produce for you, and you would like to have your music that we recorded in a studio that's been released. It's published and released, which means it's been copywritten, which it should be copywritten if you're releasing music. It should be copywritten. It seems like that's what's not going to be allowed anymore. So the basis of this, in my opinion, where this probably stems from is you can't stream your Eminem song or your Garth Brooks song in the background on your stereo while you're live on Facebook. And the algorithm is going to catch that and it's going to take that video down because you don't own the rights to that music. Now, furthermore, what this is probably actually geared at is to create when they say create a listening experience, this is probably aimed at DJs and people that are using the actual studio recordings to create some sort of entertainment value to the viewers on a Facebook Live or on a Facebook video. So I don't actually disagree with any of that. Where this gets real weird, and this has already happened to me here on YouTube and on Facebook in the past, is that there's usually not even a human looking for this stuff. It's an algorithm that listens to the audio on these videos. Here on YouTube and on Facebook, it's the same thing. It's an algorithm that listens to the audio and it runs it against a database. And so when you're listening to that Eminem song and you're streaming live, you're partying, it's Saturday night, and you're streaming and you're drinking shots with your friends, but that Eminem song is on the background, the algorithm is going to search through that database. They're going to catch that Eminem song. They're going to match it with their database of copyrighted material. They're going to pull your video down. So the issue comes, though, is what if you're streaming your own music that you actually do own the rights to. Now, this is what has happened to me. You could be doing the exact same thing. You guys are partying on a Saturday night, celebrating the release of your new single, and you're doing shots, and your song is streaming in the background, but that song is copywritten. Facebook doesn't know that you're the one that owns the copyright to it. It's just going to run it against that database, and you run the risk of them pulling that video down, even though it's your song. So in my opinion, this is actually going to be the biggest part of the impact of these new music guidelines going into effect October 1st. My phone has been just blowing up since this announcement came out. People wanting to know, like, what does this actually mean? How's it going to affect them? They don't really understand what it means and how it's going to affect them. Because thanks to COVID, a lot of people are doing live music performances out of their bedroom or out of their living room. And a lot of you guys are putting your Venmo and your PayPal in the description of these live streamed events, and you're getting tips from this, which I think is awesome. It actually has been really incredible during lockdown, especially in the beginning weeks and months, to see everyone shift into this new model of leaning into social media to get tips and to put their music out. I love that. I think it's awesome. So I don't think, and again, I'm not a lawyer. I don't work for Facebook. I'm not a copyright lawyer. I don't work for Instagram. I don't think that these new guidelines are going to affect that, because you playing a cover probably won't trigger the algorithm to pull your video or your music down based on a copyright strike. So if you're singing a Maren Morris song or a Taylor Swift song live while playing acoustic guitar or while playing piano, I don't think you're going to get a strike for that, and I don't think that the video is going to get pulled down for that. We'll find out, because they're going to put all this into play on October 1st. So what I would suggest people do, this is how I would do it. Let me not suggest what you would do. This is what I would do. If I'm a person who's playing and singing on these live streams, this is how I would handle this. I would keep doing what I'm doing. And if Facebook pulls your videos down, or if they delete your account, I would move on, because I don't want to be a part of a platform that will do that anyway. And when I first start seeing this happening, if this does happen and they start pulling artists' videos down of them actually performing in a home situation, not at a live event, we're going to talk about that in 1 second. If you're in your living room playing and singing your guitar and they're pulling videos down, I'm going to leave Facebook too. I will not be a part of that, because I don't believe in that, and I will happily migrate to some other platform, which we're going to talk about that as well in a minute. So in addition to DJs and streaming your Eminem song while you're doing shots, I think the other thing that they're really trying to stop is people live streaming ticketed concert events. Now what I mean by that is you paid $100 to go see Miley Cyrus. You may not actually go pay to see Miley Cyrus, but we're going to use that as an example. You paid $100 for a ticket to go see Miley Cyrus, and you get front row, and you start your Facebook Live, and you live the entire show. That is probably not okay, and those videos, I'm certain, are going to be part of what gets pulled down under these new guidelines. And in my opinion, I don't really have an issue with that. I think you should be able to record these concerts for your own, for your own memories, and you should be able to watch them. Not that any of us ever will go back and watch concert footage we took with our cell phone, but you should be allowed to do that. I don't necessarily disagree with you being not allowed to put that on Facebook, though. You as an artist, you might look at this in a couple different directions. If you're a new or lower level artist, you might look at this as free publicity, and I get that. If you're a beginning level artist and you're just beginning to play shows, or you're not full time yet, you might look at this as a form of promotion that your fans are giving to you, and you might want them to be able to do that. And I understand that. However, they're probably viewing this from the angle of the big artists that are full-time, that are selling out venues, clubs, theaters, arenas, and that you're kind of doing them a disservice in the fact that people are being able to absorb the experience in some way without paying anything for it. So that's kind of a gray area. You figure out how you feel about that. So how do we move forward under these new guidelines? In my opinion, it's incredibly important, and it always has been incredibly important, to diversify your social media usage. It's one of the reasons I started really pushing this YouTube channel. I remember when MySpace was a thing. My first social media was MySpace. MySpace is basically not a thing anymore. One day, Facebook will also not be a thing anymore. After Facebook is not a thing anymore, Instagram will not be a thing anymore. And it's one of the reasons I've started to put so much effort into my YouTube channel, because YouTube has been around longer than any of them, and I kind of see YouTube being around longer than any of them. I see Facebook starting its downward trend probably now. There's a lot of people that are getting annoyed with the fact checking. I myself have had stuff fact checked that was actually factually correct, and they hid my post claiming it was incorrect. And now this copyright stuff and the streaming stuff. I think there's a lot of people that are starting to get tired of the shenanigans on Facebook, and people are starting to see it as less and less of a valuable tool, even though I still think currently, today, as of September 13th, 2020, it still does hold a lot of value, but it's becoming less valuable each month, I think. So I think it's really important to diversify your social medias. You should have a Facebook and an Instagram and a TikTok and a YouTube channel and whatever continues to kind of rise up. You should have every one of these, and you should put some amount of equal effort into each one of them, I think, because as one platform fails or stops becoming effective for you to promote what it is that you do, you're going to lean into the other platforms, and hopefully you're going to lean into those other 2, 3, 4 platforms until another platform can kind of rise up and become effective enough to take, we'll say, Facebook's place in this case. So diversify your social medias. I think that's super important for longevity of a career. If you're anything like me and you've built your fan base or you've built your career on social media. Hope that this helped you guys. I hope that this helped you know how to proceed in this craziness. Drop me a comment and let me know your thoughts on all of this. And if you disagree with something, I honestly would love to hear from you. And if this is affecting you already in some way by the time you're watching this video, I'd love to hear like the story of what's being taken down on Facebook for you and what's been taken down on Instagram for you. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell and give me a thumbs up and all the things. Hit me up on Instagram at Colt Capperrune. I'm still on Facebook. It's just Colt Capperrune if you want to hit me up there as well. We'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.